Welcome back to the channel. I'm Nick, aka Dad.
I'm Addie, aka the Monkey.
And this is Monkey Business, where we like to talk about things automotive, do reviews on some automotive products, and really try to give you as much knowledge as we can give on the products we're using. So this week we are doing something pretty awesome on the Bronco.
Yes,
this is a product that I've actually had for about a year.
Wow.
It sat at our dealership, or at the dealership I worked for, in storage for probably close to almost a year.
Yeah.
Just trying to find the right time to put it on. And I think that day has finally come. So,
Let's get started.
well, like we'd said, it was a big change, and this is what we went with. This is from Bay Area Metal Fab. Bay Area Metal Fab is out of Valencia, California.
Yeah.
The company was actually started back in 2011 by Jerry Lee, who's the owner of it. And they started in his garage, 600 square foot garage, and now they're at a 14,000 square foot warehouse. So I've talked to Jerry. They do all kinds of stuff. They really started with Toyota Tacomas. And that was kind of their bread and butter, making affordable parts for them, bumpers and rear bumpers and things like that. But after COVID, they really just got into a bunch of different vehicles. Now they're doing front bumpers. They've got two different bumpers for the Bronco itself, both being front bumpers. They've got some Jeep bumpers, obviously.
Yeah.
Toyota Tacomas still.
Oh yeah.
They've gotten into doing spare tire reinforcements. They've gotten into some racks for the Bronco, both a soft top rack and I believe a hard top rack now, and they're just booming. And then they also do metal fab for companies like Trader Joe's. So I mean, they'll pretty much do anything, both for off-road, for commercial. They're really just available to do what kind of metal fabrication you need. I mean, they've got some pretty cool CNC machines and laser cutting machines. I've seen some great videos on Instagram. We'll post a link down below for their Instagram page. You can check them out. But I've been on the email with Jerry back and forth. Super awesome guy. Definitely customer oriented. They're actually in the middle of trying to help out a bunch of customers, about 60 customers to be exact, from another company that I guess kind of went under, unbeknownst to everybody, and he's trying to help them out by getting the product they were promised to them. So,
Yeah.
but we wanted to show you, this is what we're going to be using. Winch capable bumper, already welded on D-hooks. So lots of options on these as far as they've got the bezels here. Now these will also accommodate front sensors, which ours does have. They've got relocation stuff for you out there that have the adaptive cruise controls. But I really went with it because it kind of tucks up as close as it possibly can. I like the look that Jerry went with this.
Yeah.
It wasn't too out of the ordinary. It actually looks pretty stock like the modular bumper is, but it's not modular. And I really wanted an opening on both sides here that looked good, but also gave you some flexibility as what you want to run for light. So we've got all that, and I guess at this point we might as well get her put on.
Yeah.
So
Let's get started.
with this install, well, that's the product that we'll be using. And then with ours, you obviously get those grates I was talking about. Yours, if you don't have the parking sensors, yours will just be blank here, and this will be a really easy install if you don't have that. Where we do have the parking sensor, so we'll show you how to put this on, because what we're going to do is we're going to find out where that wiring needs to go once we get the winch put in. Just start from there. And if you can hear that, that's Riley. She's our audience today. She just threw a toy down at Addie, so Addie will pick that up for her and give that back to her. And then you'll also have these side pieces for your front sensors as well, the outside ones. And again, we'll show you, once I've gotten this bumper off already, we'll show you how the sensors pop out and then how we're going to connect those back in after we get all this in. So this may be a couple step video, or I should say different segments of a video.
Yes.
But to start off with, to put the bumper on, you do have some pieces here that Ford used basically to sandwich it in. This bracket, which will come out It's really just a plastic bolt on the back of it that holds this plate in. We'll take that out because Bay Area Metal Fab gives you bolts, washers, nuts.
Yeah.
These will be 19 millimeter is what I've figured out so far to attach it. And then so you're going to need a 19-inch socket and a 19-inch wrench to hold the nut on as you drive it in.
Yes.
And then obviously your ratchet and extension to get back to it. Yes. So let's get this thing put on. So one of the first things you're going to do to install the bumper is also, like, I've already got our bumper off, but you take off that shield underneath, whether it's you've got the metal underbody shield or the plastic cover. Get that all out of the way. You're right, Riley, or it will be a sad day of installation if you don't get it taken off. All right, let's get finished up with this. All right, let me show you here where that plastic nut I'm basically talking about. It's right here. It's on the outside corner. This one's on the driver's side, so we're going to spin this one off here, and then that will loosen up this whole bracket that's back here for the stock bolts. And we'll get this one out, and then we'll get the other one out and get the bumper on. Well, there's always something different on a Bronco. So on the passenger side one, there is a plastic nut on the outside, just like on the driver's side. But then I also felt behind her, because I could not get that bracket off, they've actually got another plastic nut going in between these two, which are your inside ones. So you have to unscrew that before this whole thing will come off here. But again, just had to figure that out. Well, like I said, we had that nut on the passenger side. We had actually two of them, obviously. But I was checking the driver's side, and I actually do have, there is a threaded post between the two on the driver's side as well, which basically sits right back in here. But there was no plastic nut on it. So just one of those things that didn't get put on the factory, I guess. And yeah, or just fell off. But yeah, let's get this bumper put on so you can see what it looks like. All right, well, it looks like I'm gonna get my deadlift in here. I'm gonna pick up the bumper, and Monk's gonna put in the top two here and get them started enough to where I can let go, we can get them all tightened up. So this is probably where you're gonna need two people.
Yeah.
If you don't have two people, probably a good set of jack stands that are tall enough to do this, but with our lift, a jack stand really doesn't work for us anyway. So let's put this on.
Yeah.
Okay, kneel down.
Yep.
There you go. I got it. There you go.
Okay.
Hold the nut, hold the bolt, so you can spin the nut on, and the washer.
Oh my gosh. I'm supposed to have 2 fingers. That's not it. Where is it? It's right here.
It's really a really light bumper. Just kidding. All right. We've got 2 in. Let's tighten these down first before we take a look at it. Okay, for tightening down, remember I said 19 millimeter socket, good extension, ratchet, and then a 19 millimeter wrench or another socket to get from the back side, just to tighten them down. Thanks, Riley. She's motivating us. Okay, that's good. We're good. Yeah, really, there's not a lot of room back there to put a wrench, because you got your intercooler's right here as well, which you don't want to mess up and get your intercooler. I know, right, Riley? Don't want to mess up your intercooler.
Don't do it.
Well, now that we have their top 2 bolts installed on both sides, just kind of hold it on. You're going to want to make sure it's lined up too, so don't just go and tighten those all the way down. You may need to move it up or down a little bit, just depending. just so you can get those other bottom holes in the correct location. So let's get it leveled out and we'll put the other bolts in real quick. Well, we've got all the bolts in. We've got everything lined up now. So everything went in really, really well. Whoops. And then now we'll go back and we'll tighten them all up and step back, take a look, maybe get some of the finishing touches put on. Starting to look, don't know if I'll be able to fit the winch down in there. May have to loosen this up again to get it out, or take off some trim pieces. Just drop it in from the top might even be easier than taking off this, 150-pound piece of steel. Not sure if that's the actual weight, but she's pretty heavy. I mean, you can lift it. But let's get this all attached, get the pieces put on, see what you guys think. Once you got my wrench kind of stuck back in there, but let's take a look at it here. And there's what she looks like. Yeah, we got a little bit of a gap below there, but I mean, yeah, that's kind of be expected a little bit, especially with our aftermarket bumper. I mean, it's not going to match up perfectly, but it looks pretty nice. Actually looks pretty good.
I like it.
I think we can live with that, obviously, and
I like it.
Hopefully we'll be able to fit the winch we have right in there without having to take this off. But I have a feeling I might have to at least loosen some bolts just because of the bull bar. Yeah. But we'll get the other bolts put in here and kind of get it wrapped up. Well, we got the bumper all the way on. It's tightened up, all 6 bolts. And just putting on, I've gotten in the little grill pieces here. Our dog Bella's with me here. Got those all put in. That's a T15 to put those in. It's a Torx head bit or star bit, whatever you want to call it. Those go in. The material's pretty thick on these bumpers. It's actually something you can smooth out on the trail if you get some damage to it. Just adding some heat to it, you can actually move this around. This is something that Bay Area Metal Fab has come up with. So not self-healing, but you can move the top material around a little bit. So yeah, there's a little excess material, so sometimes you might have to start these bolts into that material before it kind of catches and goes through. But just last piece, which is our Bay Area Metal Fab emblem that goes on top here. Kind of started these screws just because, again, that material's pretty thick, and thought if I could just get it started into the material that maybe we'd have a chance just to get them through without having to worry about starting them with like getting a drill out to drill out some of it. So since I can't get any of these screws to start, or these bolts, what we'll do is we'll just get a drill, we'll drill out some of the material and get them through so we can get the nuts on the other side. Well, starting to rain, I'm kind of losing light here, and the little one is definitely getting upset that I'm not playing with her. But got everything except the Bay Area Metal Fab put on, just for the simple fact that the holes for the hardware I got, these button, let me show you, these little button bolts that have nuts that go with them. I wallowed those out a little bit and they still weren't big enough. I got up to a 1/4 inch bit on my drill, and yeah, it didn't want to go through that steel, which I get it, it's pretty thick. So I'm gonna have to find some other hardware to put that on. But other than that, that's where we're at so far. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Kind of a quick tutorial on how to put on a Bay Area Metal Fab bumper and some of the things you might run into. But next we're going to be putting in the winch. We've also got some lights we'll be putting in, which we'll show you that as well. And then the wiring for the sensors and that too. So stay tuned. We've got more to come on the bumper. Well, that's all the time we had today. But I think the bumper really looks really nice. I mean, that was one of the things I picked it out because it looked the way it did. It gave me some flexibility with the lights, which we'll have an upcoming video on that. We'll have an upcoming video on putting on the sensors that we have, the parking sensors, show you how that's done with using the little pods that they give you for the outside sensors. And then also the inside sensors. But we got the wiring harness sitting over there. So the next video we'll show you is putting in the winch. We'll have another video after that on the sensors because we want to get the winch set in to figure out where we can go out with the wiring harness and what kind of adaptations we might need to do. But for the most part, review for the Bay Area Metal Fab Bronco bumper. It's really stout. It's really well made.
It is.
Some quality control issues, with those screws for the actual logo. That didn't work out very well. The holes weren't big enough, and to get them big enough, my drill was not going to go through that steel plate very easily. So we're going to get some new hardware for it, still put it on there. But the next time you see us, we'll be putting in the winch.
Yes.
After that, we'll be getting in the sensors and all of that. And then after that, we've got some lighting we're going to throw at you.
Yes, we do.
And show you that. But love that Bay Area Metal Fab bumper.
We do.
Jerry did a great job. I'm going to let him know a little bit about what we found out with the holes. So hopefully he can catch that if it's still continuing. But I did have an early bumper. But as always, we appreciate you watching.
We do.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share and like our videos. And just have a blessed day.